Hello and welcome to another Capture the Flag edition of Daryl Show Your Work. All right, episode 151 to be exact. So, continuing on with the overall theme of elevating our privileges in a compromised host, I wanted to show how once we have access to a Linux-based host, how we could then exploit misconfigured permissions and passwords in order to elevate the privileges of a regular user account to a more administrative or system level account. All right. So before doing so, I wanted to give my usual disclaimer here, since I'm going to be doing some red teaming and offensive security activity here, and by saying that this is for ethical research and educational purposes only. Any sort of malicious activity that may directly or indirectly come from someone watching this video, I do not take responsibility for, nor do I condone. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do now that we're on the target system, and again, I'm showing the target host here. It's not really needed, but just want everyone to see exactly who has been who we're what system we're in. It's we're in system 192.97.109.3. That's the IP address. But again, we've already made entry into the system. I want to focus more on the post exploitation phase of things and not so much on the exploitation itself. So everything that I'm going to be doing in this video is post exploitation for the purpose of privilege escalation once we're on a Linux based host. Okay, so with that said, I'm going to verify the exact account that I have here, and I'm going to say, who am I? And we can see here just from the command line, the bash session line here that we are a student, but I just want to verify that. It's always a good thing to do so. All right, then I also want to see what other users are here on this account to see if there's any privileged users here that I may want to set my sights on as far as um, being able to gain access of that account as a method of escalating my privileges here on the system. So I'm gonna say cat at c pass wd. I personally say pass wd because I just don't want anybody watching to get that confused. As far as I'm going in here and I'm looking for passwords, I'm actually going in here and enumerating user and service accounts where the password is stored in another file actually called shadow. So that's a good thing to remember when you're dealing with Linux platforms. All right, so we can see here that there appears to only be two user accounts here, one for root and one for student. Everybody else appears to be a service account, and that's indicative of the no login directory at the end of each user directory here within these other accounts. And so the goal here is for me to go from here, student, which is a regular normal account, to here root, all right, which has elevated system privileges. So I want to go from here to here. Okay, so let's find some ways in order to do that. So let's see first if this account or what actual user groups are on this system here. Some say Etsy. I don't know, my keyboard doing its own thing. Let's write that again. Cat Etsy, and then we're gonna write group singular. All right, so it looks like there's just a group for each user here. So not really a solid privilege escalation vector here. Another thing that I can do is if I wanted to search this entire device to be able to see which files that I can write to, maybe then that would help me to be able to find something that basically gives me way more permissions that I should have, and maybe I could use that as a way to elevate my privileges. So in order to do that, I'm gonna say find slash dash not dash type L, and then I'm going to specify here PR dash PRM, tell it permissions, and then I'm going to specify the permissions. I'm going to say O plus W for write. All right, so basically, I'm telling Linux here I wanted to find, to search the entire system for files where any user on here, that's me and root, can write to, and let's see if we could use that as a possible way to escalate privileges. So, surprising thing here that I just mentioned, that shadow file where the passwords are located. Well, apparently, as a normal user, I can write to this. That's not good. Only, only the root user or some sort of administrator account should be able to write to the password, to actually write to the password file, the actual shadow file that has the passwords in it. So that's not good for the users of this, to the legitimate users of this machine. That's great for me as the attacker. So what I'm going to do is before I do that, let's see what's going on. Let's see if I can actually see the passwords. Now I know I can write to it. I know that I should have read permissions too. So let's see. So I'm gonna say Etsy and then shadow. So, if looking at this, we see an asterisk next to each of these user and what these this for root and the rest of the service accounts except for mine. That's indicative of no password being set. Mine has a bang here, so uh, that, again, not much better. But but that's great for me. So let's say that I wanted to, not only to elevate my privileges, but once I elevated my privileges, to be able to be able to maintain some level of persistence. So, which probably is not going to last very long, because once the administrator gets on here and see that they no longer have access to the root account, they have to actually enter a password. That's going to be short lived. But this is going to show a way that we can do that. So what I want to do is I actually want to modify this shadow file now that I know I can write to it, and change the password for root, and then now that I know that I can pretty much I mean, I could just simply do a switch user right now and enter it in the root, but I want to be able to maintain access to root here, have my own password. So I'm going to modify this file and give root the password that I want to give it. But also, before I do that, I want to verify that indeed that I do have those right permissions, that that find command insinuated that I have. So in order to do that, I'm gonna just say list dash all, and then I'm gonna say Etsy shadow, and that's going to be this is going to come back with basically what permissions are set for that file, for the shadow file. And it's, I mean, it's pretty lines up pretty well that the owner has read and write permissions, that the group has read and write permissions, and that everybody else has read and write permissions. So everybody has read and write permissions to the shadow file. All right, not good. All right, so I'm going to use I've covered this application before, but I'm going to use an application called openssl to basically generate a password hash for the root account, and it's going to generate a hash for a password that I'm going to set, and I'm going to copy that password and add it to the Etsy shadow file. All right. So in order to start generating that password, I'm gonna say open SSL, and this time I am going to say passwd for password. All right. In this instance, it does mean password in the context here. And then I'm gonna say -1. All right, so anyone that watched any of my previous videos, we know that the hash strength ranges from 1 to 6, 1 being the weakest, 6 being the highest, 1 being MD5 hashing, and 6 being, I want to say, SHA 512 being the highest we could set here, as far as hashing. So I'm going to set it at the weakest, just for the sake of demonstration here. But of course, you will want to set it to something higher. So I'm going to say -1, meaning that I'm going to assign it an MD5 hash, and then I'm going to also say -salt, and I'm going to say ABC. So what that does, so what salt is, it's actually a cryptography methodology that adds extra characters to the actual plain text to add more complexity to the ciphertext. So the ciphertext that is going to give back, even though the password is going to be, I mean, I'm gonna specify this here too. I'm gonna say password, or I'm gonna set it something real simple. So even though the password is going to be password, it's gonna create a ciphertext for ABC password. So if anybody were to try to crack this, it's going to be a bit harder, even though we're using MD5. It's going to be a bit harder because they're going to be trying to crack. They're going to be trying to crack a password for something that's ABC password when the actual password itself is password. It's adding a level of complexity to the ciphertext. All right. So let's hit enter there, and it should give me an output of the hash value, and it does. So if we look at the hash value, we can see that the hash strength is in first. We can see that's set to 1, which is MD5, and then the actual salt comes next, which is ABC. That's the value that's being added to the front of this the hash text, and then the actual password value. So I'm gonna copy this um, entire hash value here. All right, now I want to go inside of the Etsy shadow file and modify it. All right, so I'm gonna use the Vim text editor to do that. All right, so the way to use Vim, Vim is a bit more takes a bit more steps to use than Nano. So in Vim, in order to get out of normal mode and to go into insert mode, you have to hit I. So we see here at the bottom that changed to insert, so that lets us know what mode we're in. All right, so now that I'm in insert mode, I'm going to get rid of this asterisk, and I'm going to paste the ciphertext that I just copied. All right, now that that's in there, all right, I should be good to go. So, all right, in order to save my work, I'm gonna say escape, and then I'm gonna say colon. No, no, we don't know what happened there. Okay, hold on. Let's try that again. Escape, and then colon WQ, and that's going to write and quit. That's what WQ stands for. All right. So now that that's been written to the other file, all right, now let's switch user to root. All right, now it's going to ask for the password. So I'm going to say password, and voila. Now I have access to root. All right. So remember, this is a capture the flag edition. All right. So let's verify that I am indeed root user here, which I am, so I'm root. All right, so then let's go to the actual root directory of root. All right, and then let's see what's in there. Oh well, no, we're using Linux, so ls. All right, we can see there's one file in there, and that's the flag. So I'm gonna say cat flag. And voila, there's our flag. So we captured the flag here. All right, so that brings me to the end of the video. But just to give a brief overview of what was done, we already having access to the system. We first enumerated our account, what account we were. Then we enumerated what other accounts were here on the system, what user groups were present here on the system. And then we searched the entire system here to see what files could any user be able to write to, and we found that that actually that shadow file that houses all the passwords in the system was writable. And then so once I looked inside of there, even worse, found out that no passwords were actually set to any of the accounts here except for, I believe, student. All right, so I just said that. Then I verified that by doing a list all, and it did confirm that everybody on the system here had read write permissions to the shadow password file. So I decided to instead of just immediately just switch it to root, which I could have done because there's no password requirement. I decided to set my own password here and to use openssl, then to generate an assaulted MD5 hash value for the password I set here, as a means to maintain some level of persistence. Of course, locking out whoever the legitimate administrator is, or whoever will use the root account on the system, whoever they are. But that wouldn't last for very long, because they would figure out very quickly, hey, someone locked me out, and then I'll easily be found. But hopefully by that time, I would have accomplished whatever I came here to accomplish, and I would probably just go back in, set it back to the way they had it, and they would never known anything happened. But anyway, so set that up, and verify that I was able to switch to to root, enter the new password, which worked, and then searched within the root directory, and found our flag, which again, I've always said that flag represents sensitive information that we don't want just any unauthorized person to see, which would then enable them to be able to modify, delete, exfiltrate, etc., etc. Use your imagination. All right, so please like, share, and subscribe. Most importantly, show your work. Until next time, take care of yourself, and God bless.